Hey guys, this is Oracle Daphne. I'm back for my Oracle Daphne 2.0 channel. I'm doing a tea reading today with tropical green tea, tarot, and some charms. I laid out some charms here just because I like to have them just to see, what I get. This is messages that are meant to find you at the correct time. So I'm putting it out there that these will find you when you need to hear it or around the time most likely that things will take place. However, I will say that typically when I read, I see future energies. I don't always see energies that are happening in this now moment. So, that being said, I'm excited to do this one. I actually really love this tea. I have to tell you, it's amazing. And I'm kind of obsessed with it. It's just a tropical green tea by Mighty Leaf. And I'm not partnering with them or anything. I just really love it. And I don't know. I'm just excited to see what I get. This is a general reading for the collective. Those of you who have found this video, it's going to hopefully resonate, and we'll see, what I get. I do want to say thank you to everybody who has been kind and donated to my channel. I'm in the process of working on my July horoscopes, and they are really a labor of love. They take so long to produce, and I just really appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the likes and subscribes. This is a new channel. I appreciate all the love. It means a lot to me because it's just a labor of love. And I'm just really grateful for everybody who has supported this new channel. I mean, I'm really excited to be here. So if you do want to donate and support me, you can check out the links in the description box. I usually also leave them in the comments. And you can tell how by fast I'm talking. I'm really excited. I don't know what I'm going to see. I don't know what this reading is going to be, but I'm excited to be here to do this one. So let me lay out a spread so I can get started and see what we get. Also, if you're new to this channel, but you also haven't subscribed to my other channel, my original channel, definitely check it out. There's 1,600 videos on there, probably close to 1,700 by now. I really have a crazy track record of working really hard on that channel. So there's tons of content over there that you're going to want to see if you like the content that I do here as well. Also, please let me know in the comments, what kind of content you really enjoy out of this new channel. And let me know, also drop a heart in the comments, of course, but let me know what kind of content, you appreciate most about my readings. So yeah. I'm going to move these charms just a little. There we go. I definitely feel like there's some interesting messages, interesting communication that's going to be coming through. There's 3 feathers here in a row, but I also think good things come in threes. So you might get like an email about something. You could be, I don't know, it's interesting because I'm seeing this. There's this box that I made last Christmas, around that time, that has all these positive things that could possibly happen. And in that box, there's one message and I wrote them on little strips of paper, okay, that says 3 positive things that happen in a row. You get something that you've wanted for some time, or you book a trip that you've wanted, or again, any positive 3 things that could happen in a row. Maybe you get a gift card in the mail, or something amazing happens, and maybe you fall in love. Whatever those things are, they're all going to be different, but they're 3 positive things that happen in a row. And I'm seeing that specifically, which is interesting. So there's going to be something, I do feel like for some of you, there's going to be something that you buy, that you've wanted to buy. It could be anything really. It could be I feel like it's something specific that you've wanted to buy. Those of you who wanted to buy a car, this is buying a car. Those of you who wanted to buy a specific article of clothing, or like a handbag, or something that you've really lusted after or wanted, I feel like you're gonna get. Yeah. I also feel like for some of you, and it's very interesting, like for a really long period, I just wanted to go out to get takeout more often. after I was studying or after I was doing something, I would just want to go get takeout. But for whatever reason, I couldn't really get to do it. And so for some reason, there's this message about food that's coming through with this little plate here. So some of you might get to go out to eat more, or you might get asked out on a date and have a really great time, and whatever the food is there is going to be amazing. I feel like some of you, it's just something positive that happens that involves food. For some of you, like those of you foodies, maybe you decide, you're going to bake something. By the way, there's this channel that I'm totally obsessed with. I'm going to link her in the comments. She made these like blueberry cheesecake buns. And I was like, oh my God. Like I was like in total heaven. Like I was in dreamland. And for some of you, like those of you who do love to cook or bake, maybe you bake something that you've wanted to make for a long time, or it's something that you've been really craving. Okay. Now we are in Cancer season. So I'm not going to lie and say that, you're going to get through this season without a food craving, because most likely you will have a food craving for something, whether it's cheesecake or whether it's chocolate or whether it's, a burger and fries, whatever it is. I've never known a Cancer, male or female, to not get food cravings. They all get food cravings. I remember this one guy that I worked with at this restaurant, okay? And of course we got food, we would all get food from the restaurant. But one night he had a really bad craving for peanut butter and jelly. And he went out and he got like the old fashioned Wonder Bread and peanut butter and jelly. And he brought it into the back in the kitchen, and I made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for everybody. And it was just really interesting because, that's coming through. And I haven't thought about that in a long time, but he was a Cancer male and he had food cravings. And it's really interesting because my grandpa loved to make cookies. Like he loved to make cookies, and he was a Cancer. And so I feel like you're going to make something sweet during this period of time. I don't know why I'm seeing something sweet, but you're going to make something sweet, or you're going to crave something sweet. I just watched a video today about banana cream pudding, and I was like in some kind of pudding heaven. I don't know. It's just coming through really strongly here. Let me see what else I get though. Okay. I'm going to look at the tarot. This is interesting. I definitely feel those of you who have, I want to say wanted to get pregnant, or wanted to be in a relationship first and then get pregnant, or wanted to meet someone who you could have children with, or wanted to be with someone who was going to be kind of like your lobster. I want to say that this is very much like a lobster relationship. This is what I'm seeing here. The High Priestess plus the King of Pentacles. He's holding out an acorn, and she's like the Lady of the Woods. She's like the natural, medicine goddess. That's kind of how I see her, because in this, I always see her like with all these sticks around her belly and kind of all these interesting feathers and leaves. And so to me, they're definitely a match. And some of you, either you're looking for your match, or this is finding a match. This is like a match coming in. And you're going to know that it's a match because it makes you feel really good. If you're smiling all the time, if you're really excited to talk to them, if you're, I don't know, like I'm seeing also the swan here. And swans are counterparts. Swans mate for life. To me, this is having a mate for life. This is like a long-term relationship. This is something that's going to last a very long time. I also have to say, now this is going to sound interesting. What I'm seeing here, or what my feeling is that if it goes slowly, like this is not a person who you're just going to hook up with. This is a relationship that's going to go more slowly. It's going to go more like one step at a time. And it's not necessarily going to go in any kind of order per se. It's just not necessarily going to be where you sleep with them right away, or like hook up right away, or anything that happens really fast in a relationship. So if you meet somebody and they're like, they want to get married right away, it's not your person. it's not your match. But like, if you meet somebody and they're interested in spending time with you and getting to know you, asking questions, that's how you know like they're open potentially to having something, or it could have some long-term potential. Now, you know, women, I have to say, the only caution here is women tend to like not listen to like what men say in the beginning of relationships. So like if somebody says they don't want a relationship, most likely that's true. They don't. Unless, of course, they make an exception to the rule. Okay, kind of like he's just not into that movie. And I don't really necessarily know, like I don't really have many, I haven't really read for many people that have had that experience, but I'm not saying it's impossible here. I'm just saying you're going to know when there's a lobster situation. Okay. You're going to know when it's a lobster situation based on the fact that it, one, moves slowly, two, is kind of like a slow burn in some regard. And I'm not saying there's no lust here, because there's definitely lust here. Okay. Chemistry. There is. Passion, fire. It's all there. But it's just that it's not the kind of thing that's going to fizzle out right away, or it's going to go away, you know? Okay, what else? There's this other really beautiful energy about the new, okay, that I'm seeing coming through here. For some of you, you're going to get some new shoes. For some of you, you're going to make some new friends, because we have the strength card underneath there. It's just very strong relationship building card. And some of you, you're going to go to like a new school. Like if you've never, maybe you're studying stuff, you know, maybe you're going to get enrolled in a new school or new program. For some of you, this is grad school. For some of you, this is maybe applying to get into your master, you know, not your master's, your bachelor's. There's this also maybe like some kind of school where there's a specialty. So it's funny that I was mentioning food earlier. This is maybe deciding you want to enter a culinary program. This is getting into a culinary school program, or doing something with food. I'm seeing restaurants. I'm seeing a culinary program. I see also someone like maybe moving to a different place in the country. Those of you who live in the United States, which is very different than where you live now, and maybe then enrolling in a program. So like maybe having plans to move, you know, for some of you who do like end up moving home with your parents or something like that, maybe there's going to be some encouragement on their part to get you to go back to school or to do something with studying. I'm seeing that, you know, it's the kind of thing like, you know, we all know the boomers. Like the boomers are very like, okay, this is how things go. If you're going to live here, this is what you got to do. You know, like I can't see like you living with a boomer and them telling you, sure, you can sit on the couch all day and do nothing, you know, and watch YouTube videos. Like they're going to be like, you've got to do something with your time. And I feel like they're actually like, if you end up living with a boomer, you're going to end up actually going back to school and or doing something that you really enjoy. I actually see some of you like maybe getting a scholarship of some kind for sports, or playing more sports, or doing more things outside having to do with sports. I'm seeing tennis. I'm seeing golf. The boomers really love to do all of that. I'm so mean, but it's true. Okay. I haven't known a boomer who didn't play golf or didn't play tennis. I mean, come on. What else? Okay, what else do I see? I feel like there is anxiety. For someone who's watching, there's some anxiety about a boyfriend or about a relationship or about a person who maybe they're not sure if the relationship's reciprocated. There's a lot of questions. Like some of you have a lot of questions about a particular person. For some of you, it's questioning like if a partner's cheating. For some of you, it's a question about a person, a specific person that you know, and it might not have to do anything to do with like a boyfriend or girlfriend situation. It could just be someone that you're questioning. Like what they do for a living, how they pay their bills, you know, how old they are, like what their deal is. I feel, okay, here's the thing about this. I am getting what I would call a red flag, okay, on on a particular masculine that I'm thinking about who who doesn't provide clarity. And what do I mean by that? I For me, at least from my experience, the masculines that I don't have to question are masculines that tell me what their deal is. Are they divorced? Are they single? What do they want? Do they want a relationship? Do they want to just sleep with me? Like, whatever their deal is, they come through and they disclose in the beginning. It's like a disclosure begin, and something. The fine print, okay? They hand you the book. They say, okay, this is what I want in the very beginning, okay? And the men who do not disclose and they avoid questions and they won't tell you what their deal is, those are the people that I have red flags for. Because there has been only one, I don't even know if there's been more than that, one instance of a person who did not disclose what their situation was until very, very late, very, very far out into the relationship. And it was really unfair. And I don't think it's fair for people to get into any kind of relationships where there's no disclosure or there's no like conversation about, like what you're doing, like who you are, where you're dating, where you're from, like the basics. So I'm getting kind of like one of these things where you might be questioning somebody's intentions or their integrity. And it's only going to be, I'm seeing the red here, it's only going to be a red flag if they aren't answering any questions. If they've answered your questions, if they come clean about what they're doing, or if they say, yeah, this is what I'm into, what I'm like, then you don't really have anything to worry because they've told you, okay, this is what I'm doing. And if you don't like it, then you can find somebody else. I would say, though, also I'm getting something about questioning, like, I want to say, I don't know, there's questioning things about disagreements, not being on the same page for some reason with a certain person in your life. I'm seeing that quite heavily. Disagreements about things. And I don't necessarily think it's like romantic relationship related. I feel like this could be anybody. This could be anybody in your family. This could be, in families, when they argue, like it's terrible. This could be divorce related, irreconcilable differences where you just will not see eye to eye. And it's funny, the wheel appears like an eye. It appears that way sometimes. And so for some of you, there is like no, like you might want to be on the same page with a person, but there's no getting on the same page with that person. You might want to agree with your family, but you just don't. You might want a certain type of relationship, but it's just not going to be what you want it to be. You might want, I don't know how to say this. I feel like for some of you, there's at least one person watching that wants kind of like a package deal or a relationship where they settle down and they have a family. And you might really want a specific person to settle down and have a family with. Or you might just want, to settle down and have a family with someone. You don't really necessarily it doesn't have to be any particular person. It just has to be someone that you can have something long-term with. And maybe, for those of you who are dating, maybe you just haven't had that. Maybe it's like constantly looking for something, and not finding it. Or for some, this is like your needs not being met. Irreconcilable differences in relationships because you're just not on the same page. This would be someone who just like wants to sleep with you and like doesn't want anything else, but then like your needs are not met in other ways. Okay. If let's just say you didn't want to sleep with them or like you wanted more out of the relationship. Let's just say, this was a family situation where I do not see an agreement happening because this is, the wheel spins and it doesn't really stop for very long. A lot of times there's trust issues too because we have the Queen of Swords coming up there. So some of you may have a situation where you're just not seeing eye to eye with a person and it's just, I can't see it changing. You know, it's interesting. I'm seeing, people, the two cards that are showing up. The Nine of Cups is a person who's a player who likes to sleep around, or just like at the very least likes his freedom. And the Queen of Wands is and can be a total royal bitch. Okay. So like if you were asking about, like, let's just say we were in a private reading and you were asking me about like your love life and these people popped up, I'd be like, you're headed down the wrong path. Like, of course you're asking questions. Of course you're going to be frustrated. And of course it's not going to be what you want it to be. Because you're headed down the wrong path with people that she's just really in it for herself. And this person just really wants to be single, but isn't really going to tell you that. Now, these people could be like people in your family. Okay. They don't have to be like, again, romantic. You could be dealing with a son, a daughter. And I don't see like the Queen of Wands being always a royal bitch, but because of the other cards present, I would have to say that there's some element of selfishness with the Queen of Wands. I've never met a Sagittarius who didn't have a very strong selfish streak. Okay. Very strong selfish streak. And I never met a Leo woman who wasn't a total royal diva. It's just hard to imagine that. And, as far as like, like if you were dealing with a Pisces masculine, this is a Pisces masculine, or somebody who has like a Pisces moon who is not, maybe they got out of a relationship and they're like, okay, yeah, I'm not getting back into one. Or maybe they have no honorable intentions. Like, to me, it's about people with dishonorable intentions. Like, what are their intentions? I don't know why I'm looking at that for so long. But anyways, these are the people that are coming up here. What else do I see? Let's see. I feel like this reading is very split, or there's two different situations going on. Okay. For some of you, there's blessings that are going to be coming through, like what I would consider to be like a soulmate or a twin flame or a lobster situation where you've met a pair. There's some kind of long-term relationship that's happening or going to happen in your life. And there's blessings coming through. And then we also have this situation, which is about people who show up or don't show up, who you're questioning, who maybe you're not necessarily sure if you can trust, or you're not necessarily sure if you're on the same page with, or there's people in your family, or there's people around you that you're just questioning, like, what their motives are or what their intentions are. I do feel strongly that there's some fire sign female and a water sign masculine, but that's not necessarily going to be the case for everybody. I feel like those of you who are in like the lobster situation, it's almost like this is some kind of energy that's aside from that you're just like dealing with people who maybe just kind of are shitty, or who at one point weren't that nice to you, or at one point you stopped being friends with. The Cancer, the Mercury retrograde in Cancer that's coming up, I swear to God, is going to bring people out of the blue. And I'm seeing all this blue in this card here. So you're going to be like, who are you? Like, where did you come from? Like, why are you showing up now? Like, what is this? And some of you, I actually feel, okay, this is going to sound interesting. I actually feel like you might turn some people down. And I actually feel like some of you do need to like set some very clear boundaries during this time. Because Cancer doesn't necessarily set the best boundaries. Water signs don't. They merge. Setting some boundaries, being like, yeah, no, this is what I'm wanting. If you're dating, like, this is where you say, this is what I'm wanting. This is what I'm capable of offering. This is what I'm capable of doing. I had this really interesting conversation with this guy. This was like, I don't know, many years ago, where he really just wanted to sleep with me constantly. And I really just wanted my peacefulness. I wanted to rest more. I wanted more sleep. And he told me, he's like, so you sleep when you're dead. This is what he said. And of course, I was going through this time where I had just this was, I don't know, this was a long time ago. I think I had just lost my dad, and I needed more sleep because I was going through a grief period, and I didn't want to be in a relationship where I felt pressure, and I don't know, like, it was just interesting. And I feel like for some of you, it's okay if you don't want a relationship and you just want to sleep, or you just want to be single and you don't want to like have to deal with somebody else. But like, it's important to say that, and have that conversation. I actually feel for some of you, and this is going to sound interesting, that despite whatever you say or despite whatever somebody else says, if you're meant to be lobsters with someone, like for real, it's not going to matter what you say. Like, the chemistry is going to be really undeniable, and there's really not going to be any. It's almost like you're like, when you click or when you match with somebody, when you come into union with somebody, it's just like undeniable. There's no, like, okay, like for example, like if I really wanted to be with that guy, I would have been with that guy. If I really thought he was great or whatever, I would have been with that guy. But at the time, I just, maybe it came off as like an excuse, but that's where I was at. Like, I was just not necessarily wanting to have a relationship with him. For some of you, you're going to want a relationship with whoever these people are. Like, if you meet a lobster person, you're going to know who this is. There's also some luck that's coming in here. We have the 4-leaf clover and the miracle right next to the miracle. So this is a big chunk of change potentially for some of you, a big job, a big contract. It's next to the ladybug. I would say for sure, some of you, there's some big blessings that are coming through financially. I feel like for some of you, you really want to know like what's going on with this specific person who's cheating. I would tell you to reach out to me for a private reading. And last, I'm going to leave off on something that comes through the T. The message, okay, so I'm seeing kind of like this sunset kind of energy. And the message that's coming through from my guides is honor the things that are over. Honor the endings, not just the beginnings, because the endings bring on the beginnings, And so for some of you, maybe that's what's going on. Like, maybe you've come to the end of your rope with certain kinds of individuals or certain types of relationships. And you're like, actually, I just want a lobster relationship. Or there's a certain cycle or pattern that's something that's ending in your life, or relationships that are over. And there's a time to kind of lay those to rest and like to move on from them. And I encourage everybody to really work through things from the past and let those things go. Let the sunset fade, let things fade. Don't go back to something that was either toxic or where you weren't on the same page just because you're alone. And a lot of Capricorns can do that. A lot of people can do that. There's big blessings in the new. There's so many new things coming through. I feel like you're going to be really excited about the energy when it hits. And so I think this is a great place to leave off. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your many blessings and support. I send everybody big hugs, big kisses. Talk to you guys again soon. Bye.